And I also got other NATO members to pay an additional $100 billion over the last year and a half that they weren't paying. They were delinquent. We're supposed to protect them, and they don't pay. I say, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to pay. NATO. Now we're finally making immensely wealthy countries pay the cost of their defense. We're negotiating with a lot of them. Think of it. We have these immensely wealthy countries, and they're paying for a fraction of our cost to defend them. How did that happen? And you know what the biggest excuse is? When I go to them and I'll say, King, you got to pay. Or Mr. Prime Minister, you got to pay. Or Mr. President, you got to pay. You know, it's costing us billions of dollars to protect these wealthy. You know what their biggest thing is? Because I can't understand how we did this for so many years. Decades. You have been defending all of some, I won't mention names because I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't want to. Forget it. Some of the wealthiest countries in the world. And when I say king, president, prime minister, queen, no matter what I say, you know what they say? But nobody's ever asked us to do that before. That's the only excuse. Because I say to them, why would we do this? Why are we defending you? You're immensely wealthy. You compete with us on trade. We have lousy trade deals that we're renegotiating, many of them, and ultimately all of them. Why are we protecting you, Mr. President? Well, I don't know. But you know what their answer is? Because you've always done it. That's not a great answer. So we're taking in billions and billions, but I got $100 billion, and the Secretary General of NATO, Stoltenberg, is my biggest fan. He said, until President Trump, you had to see the NATO cost of spending was going like this, and ours was going like this. We were defending many countries that treat us very badly on trade and very unfairly. We were defending them. And now it's changing around. $100 billion. They're not happy. And then I read where Obama is more popular in Germany than Trump. He's got to be. I'm making people pay their bills. He's got to be. You know, the day that I'm more popular than him, I'm not doing my job. The big story. They like him more in Europe than they like Trump. I think they should. $100 billion more they're paying. To protect America's security, I withdrew the United States from the horrible, one-sided Iran nuclear deal. We paid them $150 billion for that piece of work. I withdrew it, and we put sanctions all over the place, and they're a much different country, and let's see what happens. But I can tell you they'd like to get back to business because they're not doing very well. When I came into office, Iran was a real terror. 18 sites of confliction. They were behind every one of them in the Middle East. And who knows, could have been elsewhere. And I said, we're not going to do it. $150 billion President Obama paid, and $1.8 billion in cash. Whoever saw $1 million piled up as a promotion in $100 bills? It's a lot. It's a big. Now take $1 million and make it $1.8 billion in cash. I'm actually more impressed with that number than $150 billion. You want to know the truth? $1.8 billion in cash, and we got taken to the cleaners, so I terminated the deal. And I recognized Israel's true capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem, which every president said they were going to do. And I also approved for Israel the Golan Heights. And if you really think about it, I said to people, what's more important, the Golan Heights or the capital of Jerusalem by moving our embassy there? He said, neither, sir. What you've done in Iran is more important than both of them. I said, you know, I guess you're right when you think about it.